Coming to you from St. Olaf, and I don't mean a canonized snowman. I am Betty Legs, not quite white. Who wrote that joke? Elmer Fudd as he was falling out of a tree stand? I realize I don't look much like Betty White because this wig just makes me look like a de-evolving Kenny Rogers or something. Anyway, here we go with my terrible old lady voice. Page 1, the title. Oh no, here's the title page. Here's the title page. Betty White. Betty White was born January 17, 1922. She grew up in California. Betty and her parents enjoyed hiking, nature, and animals. She was an only child, but she got to be a sister of dogs and cats. Betty always felt surrounded by love, and she spent her long and remarkable life giving that love back to family and friends, to audiences, and to animals in need. Here's a young Betty White. Here's a young Betty White. She was born old, I think. Just like Bob Barker. When she was young, Betty wanted to be a forest ranger or a zookeeper, but those careers weren't open to girls at the time. Luckily, Betty had other passions. She loved to write, sing, and perform in plays. Early on, she set her heart on being an actress. Betty graduated from high school in 1939. 2 years later, America entered World War II. Betty wanted to help any way she could, so she volunteered to drive a truck carrying supplies to soldiers stationed in California. After the war, Betty White set out to follow her dreams. She knew getting into show business wouldn't be easy, but she was ready for anything. Anything, eh? Don't say that to whoever the equivalent of, I don't know, what's the name of that guy with that Weinstein. Betty was bright, talented, and beautiful, and funny, but she had to work hard to find jobs. She acted in local theaters and got small roles in radio commercials. Betty wanted to be on television. Back then, there were fewer TV shows and TV jobs than there are today. But Betty's hard work paid off. She got her first full-time job as a host helper on a daytime show called Hollywood on Television. Later, she became the host herself. I guess this is the old lady version of American Idol. That's what they made it look like here. Today, most television actors memorize lines from a script someone else has written. Not Betty. She had to think on her feet or wing it in front of a live studio audience, and there were no breaks because Betty and the other actors performed in the commercials too. That meant Betty was in front of the camera 5.5 hours a day, 6 days a week. Could she do it? You bet she could. Betty learned a lot and loved every minute, and viewers adored her from the start. Television grew and changed quickly. So did Betty. She became one of the first female producers in Hollywood when she co-founded Bandy Productions, named after one of her dogs. On Betty's first show, she had interviewed movie stars. Now Betty and her business partners decided to make a situation comedy or a sitcom about made-up characters. It was called Life with Elizabeth. And this time, Betty was the star. I don't think I'm sounding old enough. I'm just sounding like a pirate. And I like my stupid pirate voice. Betty always believed in being fair, so she, in 1954, she hosted a variety show with skits and musical guests. TV stations in some parts of the country didn't want to air it. They didn't like Black Panther Arthur Duncan was in the cast. That's stupid. They wanted Betty to fire him. That kind of prejudice made Betty mad. Good for her. Like, I always give older people, like, a little bit of a pass. Not, like, a super pass. But a teeny pass if you're, like, over the age of, like, 85. In, like, a little racism just because you grew up in segregation. And it just is, unfortunately, probably an ingrained belief, as terrible as it is. And Betty and Arthur remained friends through the years. That's so cool. As a girl, Betty enjoyed playing games with her mom and dad. And beginning in the 1950s, she became a popular guest on television game shows. And I'm sounding like the pirate again. Betty quickly charmed everyone, including one special man, Alan Ludden, the host of a game show called Password. Alan and Betty fell in love. They married in 1963, and Betty became a stepmom to 3 children. Betty and Alan lived happily together until he died in 1981. An interesting fact that I know about this because I love game shows is that one of Alan Ludden's children was a lesbian, and so Betty White was an early advocate of gays and lesbians and that sort of thing. So that's really cool, I think. Alan always remained in Betty's heart. Life wasn't easy for her after his death, but she tried. Staying busy helped her cope. Betty likes new challenges and taking on different roles. She studies, prepares, and works hard. That's one reason she's one of the most successful television stars in history. Betty especially is known for, acting in 2 popular long-running TV shows, The Mary Tyler Moore Show and The Golden Girls. She also had an Emmy Award for both shows. Oops. Pictures. Think I forgot a couple. There you go. Betty has been honored many times. In 1995, she was inducted in the Television Academy Hall of Fame. Was Betty ready to stop working? No way. She wrote books about her life and kept acting in movies and on television. At 88, Betty White became the oldest to host comedy show Saturday Night Live. Betty received an Emmy for her performance and another in honor of her long list of awards. Oh, another in a long list of awards. Sorry, I misread that. Here's Betty. Even with her busy acting career, Betty always had time for animals. She has supported the Los Angeles Zoo for many years and has helped raise money to improve animal habitats and save endangered species like the California condor. Betty has been lucky enough to meet some creatures that are just as famous as she is, including Coco the gorilla. Is that the one they taught sign language? I think so. Coco knew more than 1,000 words in sign language. Oh, there you go. 1,000 words in sign language. In fact, Coco gave Betty the name Lipstick. She made the sign for the word whenever Betty came to visit. Oh, man. It's so funny that the gorilla or orangutan, whatever I just read, like named her lipstick. That's hilarious to me. Like the lipstick must have really stood out to the gorilla. Along with helping wild animals, Betty supports groups that rescue pets, study animal health, and help train guide dogs. Betty has loved cats and dogs since she was little. I grew up with pets in our house. They were more than pets. They were members of the family. When Betty was 89, she adopted Pointy, a golden retriever who hadn't been able to finish guide training. I love golden retriever dogs. They're so beautiful and fun. Betty's talent and dazzling smile have lit up the world and brought joy to millions. Her passion for helping animals has inspired others to do the same. Betty loves to make the world happy. No matter if you're people or animals, she'll give you love right back. I think I messed that up, but I'm going with it. I think everybody needs a passion. Whether it's one passion or 100. That's what keeps life interesting. And I'm not an old lady, clearly. I can't do the old lady voice and read at the same time. Hopefully I didn't piss anybody off with the race thing, I hope. Because I don't have enough fans to make enemies. Anywho, everybody have a sparkling day. Peace.